Most buyers think the biggest threat to their negotiation power is the seller. But the truth is, it's actually their own mouth. There are 6 phrases buyers say to their agent all the time that feel completely harmless, yet hand control of the deal over to the other side before you have even made an offer. I'm Saul Carter, and over the years, I have seen amazing things come out of the buyer's agent's mouths. And today we are doing real estate the other way. So I'm going to give you the 6 things you should never say to your agent if you want to protect your money. All right, let's talk about number 1. You should never tell your agent your real budget. I want to be clear here about what I mean, because your agent definitely needs to know you are pre-approved and what that loan amount that you are pre-approved for is. That is the only part that matters for the search. What they do not need to know is how much cash you actually have sitting in the bank, unless, of course, you're making a cash offer, or what your household income looks like. You definitely should not mention that your true ceiling is $40,000 above the pre-approval letter. You need to keep these specific details between you and your lender, especially in the beginning of your relationship with your buyer's agent. The business logic here is pretty simple, and I want you to hear it without getting offended, because this is just how human nature works. Agents work on a commission, which means the higher the sales price and the faster they can get it done, the bigger the check for them. Most agents are not consciously working against you, but if they know you have room to spend, they are happy to have you spend it if it means that they can get themselves a paycheck faster and higher. You can find yourself touring homes above the top of your range without even knowing it. And that's money out of your pocket before you have signed a single piece of paper. You should share your pre-approval letter and nothing more. That leads me right into number 2. And this one is a sneaky one. Never say that you can go higher. Do not say it to your agent in passing or even in a casual conversation while you're looking at the kitchen. It's a competitive Southern California market, and you are frequently competing against multiple offers. And that phrase is a deal killer to your leverage. Sellers in this area already hold most of the cards, so do not hand the rest of them to them. I have seen plenty of situations that this little comment alone makes its way to the listing side, and whether it happens on purpose or just through sloppy communications between agents, the result is the same. The listing agent now knows your ceiling. So instead of a real negotiation, you just turned the process into an auction where the house wins every time. Your offer should reflect the data and the comparable homes that have actually sold in the area, not what you are emotionally willing to stretch to. You need to come in with a number you can defend. If a multiple offer situation forces your hand, you can decide in that moment with your agent privately rather than weeks before you have even found the house. Now, this next one is where I see most buyers completely give themselves away without even realizing they're doing it. Number 3 on my list is never tell your agent your hard deadline. I get it, because life happens and the pressure is real. Maybe your lease ends in 6 days, or the divorce is final and you have to get out of the house, or perhaps your kid starts in a new school in September and you absolutely want to be there and moved in before his first day. Those are all real and heavy situations, and I'm not trying to dismiss them at all. But the second you say we have to be in by some particular date, you have just handed the other side a weapon that could be used against you. Here's how that information gets used to take money right out of your pocket. Listing agents will start pushing for you to waive your contingencies because they know that you don't have the luxury to move on to another house or fight with them. Sellers might come back with counteroffers that are way above asking price, and your own agent might pressure you to just take the deal because they know your clock is ticking. Whether it's your agent or listing side pushing you, your deadline becomes their leverage. The double danger here is that your agent might mention your timeline to the listing agent in a casual conversation without even meaning to cause any harm. It's not always a malicious move, and sometimes it's just that agent trying to actually do what's best for their buyer because they know you have a hard deadline. But here is the thing. To a seller, being motivated and being desperate are exactly the same thing. So Keep that deadline to yourself unless there is absolutely no way to avoid disclosing it. All right, let's talk about number 4. And this one happens while you are actually inside the property. So never say, "We absolutely love this house," while you are standing in the living room. You have to assume that cameras are everywhere these days. Between Ring cameras, Nest systems, baby monitors with live audio, and and security system setups that record constantly, the walls have ears. Sellers often have these systems running during showings, and some of them definitely are listening in to the words you say. I have personally been in situations where a buyer said something inside a home that made its way back to the seller before we even had a chance to make a written offer. And that changes the entire dynamic of the negotiation. Even being overly critical can backfire on you. If a seller happens to hear you picking apart their brand new kitchen or making jokes about their taste and decor, you might just get your offer rejected before you even made it, just out of spite. Even if your offer is the strongest one on the table, people get emotional about their homes, and they do not want it to be insulted by the person that's trying to buy it from them. The rule here is simple and common sense. Keep your face neutral and your mouth shut while you are inside the property. Walk out, get all the way to the street, then you can start to have honest, open conversations from the sidewalk with your agent. All right, those first 4 points were about protecting what you know, but these last 2 are about protecting how you show up in this business. Number 5 is a big one. Never tell your agent that you are working with a few other agents at the same time. Now, I know some buyers think this gives them an edge, like creating a competition between agents will somehow get them better service. In actuality, it actually does exactly the opposite. And here is the business sense behind why this happens. Agents work on a contingency, which means if there is no closing, there is no paycheck. So they are constantly protecting their time and doing calculations on who is actually going to get them the business. When you walk in and you say, "I'm also working with 2 other people," you have just told them that in this transaction, they have a 1 in 3 chance of getting the deal. This means that they are not going to work as hard for you. This is not me complaining about buyers. It's just simple math and how a professional triages their own time. A committed buyer who has signed an agreement gets the full effort in early showings and off-market leads and phone calls the second something hits the market on the MLS and goes live. A buyer who is out there shopping for agents gets the bare minimum, because that agent simply cannot afford to invest more time than they have with any individual buyer that is working with several people. And honestly, working with multiple agents in the same market doesn't even really get you that much of an advantage. Every agent in a specific area is pulling data from the same MLS. So you are not getting more options. You are just getting less attention from everyone involved. The move here is to pick one agent you trust and understand what you are signing and commit to the process. Speaking of which, because of the NAR settlement that took effect in 2024, buyer-broker agreements are now the standard practice in California. You'll be asked to sign one, and this is not a trap. It's just a formality that you need to know and read and understand before you put your name on it. If you want a full breakdown of what that agreement means for you and your buyer, I have a video on that, which I will be uploading soon. The point is, when you show up committed and informed, you get a much better experience. This leads me right into number 6, and this one is a total credibility killer. Never walk into a conversation with your agent and say, "Zillow says it's worth less." I understand why buyers do this, because Zillow is out there everywhere and it's completely free, and it spits out numbers that feels like data. The problem is, a Zestimate is not the kind of data that actually matters in a real estate deal. It's just an algorithm pulling public records and tax assessments, and it has no idea that that house on the street sold for higher price because it had an ADU in the back. It does not know that that comp from 8 months ago is already stale on the market. In our Southern California markets, that algorithm can be off by tens of thousands of dollars. And that margin is the difference between winning a house and losing it. When you cite a Zestimate as justification for a lowball offer, you look like you haven't done your homework. This listing agent knows and the seller knows, and it puts your offer at the bottom of the pile, even if your price is actually relatively reasonable. What you actually want to do is look at a CMA, a competitive market analysis your agent should pull every time you want to make an offer. You want to look at homes that sold within the last 3 to 6 months in a specific neighborhood with similar square footage and condition. This is a number you can actually defend when you are negotiating with a seller. And this is a number the listing side has to respect because it is based on reality. You walk in with real data and a clean offer, and they know you are a serious buyer. But you walk in with a Zestimate, and it's just noise. Every single one of these 6 things comes down to the same root problem. You're handing control of your deal over to somebody else. Your money, your deadline, your ceiling, your excitement, your loyalty, and your logic. When you give all of these away too early, you're not negotiating more. You're just hoping for the best. If you're looking for more tips and tricks on how to handle your real estate business right now, go ahead and subscribe and give me a comment on which one of these things is most important to you, or if you've made this mistake in the past. All right, you need to treat every conversation with your agent like a serious business meeting rather than a venting session. The information you hold is the only leverage you keep, so don't give it away for free. If you want more straight talk, go ahead and subscribe and check out my video that's popping up here next week on the buyer-broker agreements to see exactly what you are signing and what kind of outs you might have when you're dealing with a buyer's agent. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.